Another comment, Kyle used to spend lots of time with Uncle Michael, now never. I feel sorry for Uncle Michael as he has a disability and may not have many friends. Yeah, I remember that he used to talk, and see Jenny's family. In fact, on Reddit, there is a video of, and it looks like Kyle's a lot younger in the video where he's like, saying how much he appreciates Jenny's dad and how much they supported him and everything. And I'm like, how do you reconcile that with the person now who's just taking the kids or is about to take them way across the country and he never even mentions them anymore? I don't understand how you can go from like one end to the other. And it's just, I don't know. Thank you. Someone said Jenny would be proud. You work hard and deserve it. Thank you. That means a lot to me. I wish I had a friend like Jenny. I know that seems weird. Like, I don't know if you guys, it's hard to make friends as adults. Like, I know that seems weird, but it's true. Like, it's, um, um, you guys are wonderful, and it's so nice to see people care. It's so nice to see people come together, especially in this day and age where it feels like it's such a dark time and everyone's divided and stuff like that. It's very nice to see a group of people come together to support someone who no longer has a voice, and we really do become her voice, and we really do become, um, you know, uh, an advocate for her because she's no longer here to advocate for herself and her children. And so it makes me happy that we can have this forum here, at least, while we're covering the story. And I will tell you that even whenever the time comes where I do start to kind of transition off the story, because I have to, eventually there's just nothing else much to say. I will continue to provide updates on the story as new things come out or whatever across time. I'll still be watching and you all will still be communicating with me. But I'm glad, and I just want Jenny's family to know that we actually love you guys, from a distance. We're all over the country, we're all over the world, and you're not alone. It makes me sad. It makes me sad because they don't like deserve that, It's like they already lost a child. Sorry. My son had open heart surgery and I almost lost him too when he was 14, so I have sympathy for people and like for Shauna when she lost her child. Um, and I just don't feel like people should have to suffer um unnecessarily, beyond the suffering that they already can't control. Here's my dog. The messy counter. Anyways, but as much as we can control it, it's like we should work to not hurt other people. So anyways, and so, yeah, so there's definitely some strong implications for her messages to be buried as it relates to the cancer community. So I have a question for you guys, and I'm really interested to see how you felt about this because my husband and I had a conversation about this earlier too. So if Kyle ever, I have to preface it by saying it like with emphasis, if he ever realizes that maybe transitioning the page was a bad idea, will he ever delete his new relationship videos or would he delete her cancer videos? I hadn't even thought about him deleting her cancer videos until my husband brought that up. Well, maybe he'll just delete the cancer videos and make it completely his. And that is a horrific thought for me to think of. But to be honest with you, I could kind of see that happening, which is really sad to admit. So I kind of want to see how you all felt about that. And then we'll read a couple of responses. And then we're going to jump into a little bit more of the financial information. No, he will keep them. Yeah. His views have gone up recently. I think my personal opinion is because of the drama associated with the story. Yeah, and people have said, well, your videos are contributing probably to him getting more views, but it's like, yeah, but you know what? At least people are getting the information that they need to make their own mind up about, about what he's doing and has done. And to me, I think that's an appropriate cost to pay for education. Like if he's going to get a little bit more, who cares, because ultimately people are going to know, who ultimately he is from this and what he's done, and they can make up their own mind about that. Okay. So, truth be told, said they got matching tiny hearts. Jenny had made a video where Kyle said he wanted to get matching hearts with Jenny. Wow, that's actually really sad. That actually is really sickening. So I think what's being said here is that Kyle and his new fiance got matching heart tattoos, and that was something that Jenny said she wanted to do with Kyle. That's just kind of unbelievable. Okay, Shauna says the coworker thing really triggers me. When my little girl was dying, my coworkers donated their sick time. Oh, I express in eternal gratitude to them. That is so kind that they did that for you. You know, in this day and age, in this day and age, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but people are really cold. Like a lot of people these days, they're cold, they're mean, they're indifferent. And so when someone does something as generous as donating their time, that's a beautiful thing. I mean, and I think that's beautiful that they did that for you. And with Kyle's coworkers, I can't imagine, like, for example, I don't know if they've seen any of my videos, but going through the finances, and even if they haven't, just seeing all the donations that come through for him, you know, through his super chats or whatever, I can't imagine how they must feel. Like they actually had to give up their own personal time with their own family members, their own children, their own spouses, you know, time where they wanted to recharge and reset. They actually had to give that up in order that Kyle would have time to be there, which is a beautiful act of love and service. Let's see here. So, and I wanted to share with you guys also related to financial transparency. So I personally think that Kyle watches my videos. I think that he watches them. I suppose his fiance watches them. I've seen weird comments before that make me think that they are probably coming from someone on the inside. I'm not going to name anyone or whatever. I don't have any evidence for that. But I'm fairly confident he does watch the videos. And because of that, I have a couple of questions related to the financial transparency or lack of transparency in this case that I would like to present to him. I don't expect that he'll answer, but this is what I expect. This is what I believe personally that the community, which is you all, deserve to have answered. So for the first question is related to fiduciary transparency. As a digital researcher, that's my title, I guess, tracking the evolution of this channel's fundraising, I've noted a significant volume of donor concerns regarding the terms of service alignment of the original GoFundMe. To address the public calls for third-party audits, would you be willing to provide a simple impact statement or an accounting summary showing that the legacy funds are being held in a legally protected trust for the children's future rather than for current lifestyle maintenance? And I personally think he should answer that question. Why not answer the question? Like, if you put the funds away for the children, or if you use them for medical expenses, why not show an accounting for how you use them? Why not just put it all to rest? Why not just come out and say, you know, I appreciate everyone's donations. I want to make sure that you see that they were used as intended because I care about your feelings, and I want to, you know, avoid issues with an investigation. Here's how I used them. Here's the evidence. And then the second question I have is related to regulatory compliance. And here's the question. There is an escalating narrative in the accountability community, which I consider us to be the accountability community, regarding the reporting of direct donations and digital gifts to regulatory bodies like the IRS. From an investigative standpoint, what steps have you taken to ensure that our Brave Jenny legacy brand is fully compliant with state and federal fundraising laws? And what is your message to the donors who feel that the financial transparency promised in 2023 has not been met? And then the last question has to do with the digital social contract. My research into audience sentiment shows a transparency gap where viewers who supported the family during the initial crisis now feel a sense of betrayal regarding recent asset acquisitions. As the steward of this platform, do you acknowledge a moral obligation to provide financial clarity to those who funded your current lifestyle, or do you view the donations as unconditional gifts with no requirement for future accountability? And so, those are the questions I put forward out into the internet world for Kyle. I don't suspect that we'll receive an answer. But, you know, um, those are the questions. That is my whole problem with him using her page. I don't care what he does with his life. I cannot stand him, but get off her page, and I think that's what a lot of people feel. It's like, maybe some people like him for who he is, and that's great. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Some people don't, but I think the key is not intermixing, not putting on Jenny's Sacred Legacy page another woman and how perfect she is and how wonderful your new life is and how you're so excited about everything. And meanwhile, what about the message that Jenny wanted to leave for her children and her community? Someone said Jenny was worried about being forgotten. I guess she knew the real Kyle. I mean, you do that was a good point. I've seen that in other comments too. It's like I don't I mean, I think people want to be remembered when they're gone. I think that's a human feeling that probably most people feel. They want to be remembered, at least amongst their family and friends. But feeling the unique feeling of feeling like you might not be remembered, I'm not so sure that everyone feels that way, because I think people usually have a sense of confidence in who they're with, especially their spouse, to feel like, especially with their children, he or she will, share the wonderful person I was, or the things that deeply mattered to me, or, what I enjoyed, etc. Something were to happen to Kyle, whether he, no one would ever want this for him, but whether he would pass, if he passed away, or if he was to be incarcerated, or something would happen to where he couldn't parent his children, she does not automatically get rights to the children like in some other states. She would have to go through an adoption process. So I wanted to share that with you guys. I thought that you would find that information helpful and important to know. I don't know what the trust says. I haven't been able to find the trust documents, and I haven't been able to find any information as to whether the home is for sale or for rent. I haven't seen any of that, although I think that's something that, I could look for. I haven't looked in like the last week or so, but I didn't see anything. Any word from Jenny's family? I did want to let you guys know that at least one, if not more, of Jenny's family members are on the live this evening, and they did join our last live. And I'm so grateful for them. I'm so grateful to have that connection with Jenny's family. They've been incredibly gracious in sharing what they can, and incredibly kind, incredibly approachable. And I'm so glad that they are here and they do support our work on this channel. And so for that, I am very, very grateful. And so I try to also keep that in mind as we're having this discussion, because they are in grief still, and they are going through a lot with what's happening with Jenny's children right now, and the potential for a move to Arizona. Jenny's family, I was able to confirm that it looks like Jenny's family was not present at the wedding. In fact, her parents were asked to keep the pets, were asked to watch the pets during the time of the wedding. So that is where we're at with that. Some more comments. Love and prayers for Jenny's family. Beautiful. Please remember Jenny healthy. Yes. let's all remember Jenny before cancer because she was a beautiful person. And I will be sharing more nice pictures that were shared with me for my next live when we talk about the family legal rights. I'm going to share some more pictures that were shared with me in my announcement, and that will be really nice to share. And another comment saying, it was so sad watching her last few weeks and the kids. Winnie will probably only remember her through videos. That's sad to think about. And Jenny's family, I just hope he doesn't stop letting them stay connected. Yeah. Of this topic has been very respectful with just the right amount of humor, which is important in life. Thank you. Yes, I love to laugh. Laughing is actually one of my favorite things to do, which is why I used to do some of the comedy skits here on the subject. Because usually, when things are stressful, I turn to comedy. So that's why I did some comedy bits. But thank you. And then here's another person. I think it's wonderful that you are here advocating for Jenny's channel and her legacy, a very selfless act that is so supportive from this community. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for your support. I really do appreciate everyone. Like I said, it's a small group, but it's mighty, and your voice matters and it makes a difference. Like, I genuinely believe that what you guys have shared with Jenny's family tonight makes a difference. Like, them seeing it and feeling the warmth and feeling the love is important. I mean, I can't imagine, the grief that this brings up with him recently being married. Like, can you imagine like finding that out? And then just the grief and of all the flood of Jenny's loss would come in. And so for you guys to come in at this time and share these words of love and support and encouragement, I have no doubt that that makes a difference in their hearts. And so I want to thank you guys for being here and supporting them. And I do see them as, being victims right now to this. And so it's just a beautiful thing that you guys are here and doing this.